The DNA test stunner, people connecting the dots and claiming they're not just half-siblings, but also victims of fertility fraud. It's a story we first saw in the New York Times, and Juju Chang spoke with two of the half-siblings. This is a wild story, Juju. Good morning.
Absolutely wild. Good morning to you, Cecilia. And just think about it. With one swab, these two siblings' lives were turned inside out. Imagine having to rethink who your father is, what your family looks like. Your whole sense of identity changed in the blink of an eye.
David Berry spent 37 years thinking he was Italian-Irish until he took a DNA test.
There was no Italian, there was no Irish, any of the things that I was led to believe.
The shock of a lifetime. His dad was not his biological father. David became a DNA detective, unraveling his biological history.
I got this message, and it said, I think we're related.
Discovering he and 36-year-old Morgan Hellquist are half-siblings.
I grabbed his face. I just looked at him. I was like, why is your face on my face? Like, I just couldn't understand. It was the craziest experience I've ever had.
But they kept finding more and more half-siblings.
Then there was 5 of us, and we were all the same age, and 6 and then 7. And it started to feel like, well, if there's 7, there might be 20. And if there's 20, there might be 100. And I started to feel terrified.
The half-siblings had more than just DNA in common. David and Morgan say their mothers used artificial insemination, using the same fertility doctor in Rochester, New York, Morris Wortman. A biological daughter Wortman raised, agreeing to take a DNA test to try and fill the missing puzzle piece. The result, David says, she matched him, Morgan, and all the siblings.
I am the product of something that should have never happened, with an unconscionable violation of ethics at a minimum. He's someone I can't escape because his DNA is in me, his DNA is in my son. I wrestle with that. From the first time I held my son, that man was in the room with me.
For Morgan, the story takes a darker turn. For the previous decade, Dr. Wortman was also her gynecologist.
How did you tell your mother?
When we found out, like, there wasn't any need to tell her. I was screaming and sobbing at the top of my lungs.
Hellquist filing a lawsuit against Wortman in September, alleging, among other things, that he committed medical malpractice by treating her when he likely knew he was her biological father. Wortman's team denying the charges.
In your view, what has he done?
He knew the whole time who he was, and I didn't. He took away that choice for me.
Both Morgan and David's mother say Wortman told them he was using sperm from an anonymous medical student. David's mom still reeling from the news.
He had my permission to use a donor, specifically medical student. He did not have my permission to use his own sperm for a donation.
It feels like a sexual assault. The problem is it doesn't meet the definitions of sexual assault or battery in a lot of ways. And so there was no criminal violation because there was no law that covered this particular act.
7 states specifically penalize physicians for fertility fraud. Others, like New York, only have laws pending. For now, Morgan is the only one of the half-siblings who may have a legal cause of action.
I do not have a fertility fraud case. I have a case because he touched my body without my consent.
Morgan says despite the pain, there is a silver lining.
David and my siblings are it's not even bittersweet. It's that they're the shining glue that holds me together during all of this.
And that is what is so beyond bittersweet about what they've uncovered. And while they cherish each other, you can see it, their relationship, the very thing that bonds them, that's now embedded in their DNA, is something they say should never have happened.
Oh, just such a tough story.
Yeah. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.